Hey, y'all, and welcome back to Correctional Junkie, the podcast where we talk all things correctional healthcare from the inside out. And I'm your host, Nurse B, and this is episode 22. Today, we're going to talk about something that doesn't get enough attention in corrections: PTSD. Now, when most people think of PTSD, they think of soldiers coming back from war. But the truth is, many of us who work in corrections, officers, nurses, counselors, we're fighting our own silent wars every single day. You might not see the scars, but they're there. They show up in the way we drive home after a shift, in the way we scan every room we enter, in the way we sometimes pull away from the people who love us most. So today, I want to break down what PTSD really looks like behind the walls, why it's so common in our line of work, and most importantly, how we can start healing. Let's start with the basics. PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, shows up differently for everyone, but there are some patterns. Maybe this sounds familiar. You're hypervigilant, even off duty. You can't relax. You're scanning for threats in the grocery store. You're sitting in a restaurant and you have to have your back to the wall. I know that's me, y'all. Nightmares, dreams so real, you wake up in a sweat. Reliving fights, alarms, suicides, avoidance. Maybe you skip family gatherings because big crowds make you uneasy, or you avoid certain conversations because they trigger flashbacks. Irritability. A short fuse at home, you find yourself snapping at your spouse or kids over the smallest things. And then later, the guilt hits hard. One officer once told me, I don't go to my kids' basketball games anymore. Too many people in the gym, too much noise. It feels like I'm trapped. Does that sound familiar to you? Because it's real. And it's common. Let's just be real here. PTSD isn't weakness. PTSD is an injury, a wound to the mind, just like a broken bone is a wound to the body. See, in corrections, PTSD shows up after we've been exposed to repeated trauma, y'all. That might be watching an inmate die in medical, hearing the sound of an alarm go off for the 100th time that day, or seeing one of our coworkers get assaulted right in front of us, right? The symptoms, you probably don't know them, even if you don't have a label for it, right? So some of you listening right now know exactly what I'm talking about. You felt it, you've lived it, and you may never put the letters PTSD to it, but it's real. Corrections is like living in a constant pressure cooker every single day. We're surrounded by stressors that most people wouldn't last 5 minutes in. The alarms, that sound hits different when you've been through a real incident. The verbal abuse, day after day, hearing inmates curse you out, degrade you, threaten your family. You know that stuff, that sticks. The medical codes, y'all know what I'm talking about. Constantly rushing to save an inmate who's overdosing or, walking in on someone who's taking their life. even a betrayal from staff, when you expect your partner to have your back and they don't. That cuts deep. And what happens? We carry it home. You're at the park with your kids, but you scanning everybody who walks by. You can't even enjoy dinner, right? Because you got your back to the wall, right? So why is PTSD so common in corrections, right? Well, we respond to fights and assaults on the daily. We witness the suicides, overdoses, medical neglect. We're working in constant survival mode, alarms, chaos, and unpredictability. And it's not just the direct trauma. It's the secondhand trauma too. Watching inmates deteriorate, watching coworkers struggle, watching families break down because the job changes us. Studies show that correctional officers experience PTSD rates that rival combat veterans. Think about that for a second. That should tell you that it's not just a tough day at work. It's repeated exposure to trauma, stacked day after day and year after year. And let me be clear. Once again, PTSD is not weakness. PTSD is a normal human reaction to abnormal levels of stress and trauma. The silent struggle. But here's the kicker. Most of us stay silent. Why? Because of the culture. Because in this line of work, if you admit you're struggling, people might say you're weak. They might say you're not cut out for the job. So what do we do instead? We bottle it up. We drown in alcohol. We isolate. We bury ourselves in overtime. But the truth is, that silence is killing us. Too many officers never make it to retirement. Not because of an inmate assault, not because of the dangers inside, but because of the battles they're fighting in their own head. That's why I'm doing this episode, to say you're not alone, and you're not weak, and your story matters. Let's get real for a minute. How many of you drive home after a shift and you scan your mirror for miles just to make sure no one's following you? How many of you sit at your kids' school play, but you're not even really there because you're listening for doors slamming, alarms, or trouble? How many of you check your locks 3 times before bed, or snap at your family for no reason and then sit alone afterwards hating yourself for it? If you're not in your head right now, you're not crazy. You're not broken. You're human. That's PTSD. That's the weight this job puts on us. This stuff doesn't stay inside the walls. PTSD follows us home. I've seen officers and nurses whose marriages fall apart because they can't talk about it, what they've seen. I've seen people turn to alcohol or pills just to get through the night. And too many times, I've seen staff take their own lives because they couldn't see a way out of the pain. But now I'll be honest with you, a lot of us don't even realize how bad it's gotten until something major happens. Maybe it's blowing up at a coworker over nothing. Maybe it's sitting in your car for 20 minutes after the shift because you can't bring yourself to walk inside your own house. Or maybe it's when your kids say, Mom, Dad, why are you always so angry? That's when it hits. Now here's the kicker. The problem is when we're in a culture that tells us to suck it up, encouraging, the mentality is, don't show your weakness, don't complain. Don't let anybody know you're struggling. So hide it. Bottle it up. Because if the coworker thinks, I can't handle the job, what if the administration finds out and they put me on leave or pull my weapon? What if I look weak? The truth is, once again, the culture is killing us. We've got to start shifting from silence to support, because PTSD doesn't mean you're weak. Once again, it means you've been strong for too long without help. We've got to start helping ourselves, getting help. Now, here's the part we don't talk enough about, healing, because yes, it's possible. Peer support. Find someone you can trust, someone who's been there. Talking to another correctional professional who understands can take the edge off that loneliness. Therapy. I know some of you already rolling your eyes, but listen. CBT, EMDR, trauma-focused therapy, they work. And it's not about sitting on the couch crying. It's about retraining your brain so the trauma doesn't control you anymore. Wellness practice, exercise and journaling, prayer, meditation, whatever helps you ground yourself. Even something as simple as walking outside without your phone can help bring down the stress. Boundaries. We got to learn to leave the prison at the gate. I know, easier said than done, but protecting your personal life is just as important as doing your job. Let me say this. Getting help doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong enough to fight back. I knew a sergeant who struggled for years, nightmares, panic attacks, the works. Finally, he got into therapy, and today, he's still working, but he's present at home again. He laughs, he sleeps, he's alive. That's the goal. After a critical incident, take 2 minutes. Just breathe. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Do that 3 times. Keep a notebook in your car. Write down what you experienced after a shift instead of carrying it inside your home. Find one coworker you can check in with and let them check in on you and make it normal. Pay attention to your body. If you're snapping more, drinking more, sleeping less, that's your sign to slow down and get help. Now, I have my buddy. She work at a different institution from me, and we check in with each other all the time. All the time. And let me tell you, I'd be like, girl. She'd be like, girl. And let me tell you, we get it off our chest, okay? Whatever it is. We check in. We check in. You know? You got to have that one person that gets you, that gets it. Y'all got, this is y'all thing, you know? This is y'all thing. And it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And what make it even better is when nobody don't know nobody. So you can say whatever the hell you want to say. right? You know? Say whatever the hell you want to say and get it off your chest. Makes it so much easier and so much better. You know? Because PTSD is real. It's not a weakness. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's proof that you've been through hell and you are still standing. And if you're listening to this and you are struggling, please know you are not alone. There is help. There is hope. Check on your brothers and your sisters in corrections and ask them how they are doing. And if you're the one struggling, reach out. Don't wait until it's too late. Don't wait. Don't wait. Please don't wait. Get the help that you need. Get the help that you need. Reach out. Whether it's to a peer, a counselor, a trusted friend, or even a hotline. We carry scars, but scars mean healing, and healing is possible, even behind the walls. Even behind the walls. This has been Nurse B, Correctional Junkie, reaching out to you. Wherever you listen, wherever you subscribe, you can listen to iHeart, YouTube. Reach out at Correctional Junkie Podcast. You can email me at correctionaljunkie@gmail if you want to do an episode. If you have any questions, you just need to talk. Reach out. Reach out. Do whatever you feel you need to do. Reach out. Please reach out.